Hello, and welcome to our sewing sangha. You'll find a series of videos here on how to make a rakusu in the Soto Zen tradition, more specifically the tradition of Upaya Zen Center and Roshi Joan Halifax's lineage. We'll go through each step in detail to help you create your own rakusu. You might want to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can find it again easily, and click on the notification bell so you'll learn when new videos are posted. If you have any questions or comments, please post them in the comment section below. We'll do our best to answer them. I'm Cheryl Dyson, and today we're going to be covering how to adjust the straps of your rakusu. So you'll find links and details in the description below. And before we get started on the specific sewing involved or the adjustments involved, I'm wearing our rakusu of many colors. And we'll just talk a little bit about the position of how long the straps should be. You have a generous amount of material for the straps. They're 42 inches, and you've been able to turn them right side out and policed up each of the ends. And now it's to attach them to the face of the field of the rakusu, so that it will hang properly. So as you're seated in Zazen, you want to be sure that the rakusu will cover the mudra in whatever position you're sitting in, whether you're sitting on the floor in cross-legged or whatever position, or if you're on a chair, that kind of thing. So be sure to test that out in the position that you'll be most likely to use. The other thing too, and let me stand up, and you'll be, there we go. You'll be adjusting the rakusu so that it lands about 3 inches below your navel and will cover your hands in the shashu position. So when you do a walking kin-hin, or just going from here to there in the zendo, then the rakusu will cover your hands as you walk. So that will be your guidelines for how to adjust. So let's take a look at how that's done. So let's go to the downward facing camera and look at it in more detail. Okay, so let me take this off. Excuse me. And let me tuck in the bottom half here. So last time we attached the 2 straps as we're facing the rakusu as we make it on the left, our left. And then we have to be sure that the straps follow along in a straight line. You don't want any twists and turns. And you'll pin this side to the far right side, just like we did before, with then sewing the ring strap in place. And the inner strap that's here then is going to attach to the ring. Now, in order to adjust your straps, what you'll do is, and let me quickly put a little clip here so I know where we're headed. So you're going to first take this strap and thread it through the ring. And we'll go over where we've threaded it up, threaded it. So you've got this straight, and we'll turn this over and up like this, and up like that. Now, that'll be how you're going to thread this through. Eventually, I'll do that a little more clearly in a second. But while you're in the process of adjusting, then this is actually a really good use for your clips, to thread this through, and then use your clips either, and you're going to have to take it on and off several times, and maybe find a full-length mirror for standing so that you can be sure that you have the right length. And your outer band is going to be something that will be adjusted as needed for that length. So if you started with this up here, then you're probably going to wind up needing to bring this down so that these two straps will match. And as you're adjusting, then adjust both together, and lots of moving parts here, and be sure that your straps are straight and in alignment. See how that, let me maybe pull this down even a little bit more. So the straps are going to be in alignment and be straight across. All right. So one of the handy things to do is to come up here and clip right in the middle. When you feel like you've got the right length, then clip these in the middle and that'll help keep them both in alignment and keep them straight. So then you've got your strap on the far side is to the where it should be, and then we'll be trimming this, tucking it under and attaching it, both finishing this raw edge and attaching it to the rakusu. And then this is where it should be, obviously. And then you've got this strap to attach to the ring. So when you bring the strap through like this, you're going to wrap this around, and it's a lot like tying a man's bow tie, because we're going to go across here, we're going to go back in, and leave enough space to work this in. You're going to want to be sure that you're working the fabric up so that it's not going to change the length. And you can have that nice and snug. All right, so just like that. Now, this end will be open, just like this end. Now, this one I actually had tucked under, but what we'll be doing is we're going to trim this and then tuck it under and close that ending so that you don't want a whole lot sticking out here. This is too much. So this needs to be trimmed, this needs to be trimmed, and then they both need to be tucked under and sewn. So let's do that. Now, one of the things to do here is we're going to tuck this under by about 1/2 inch. So this will be the top part. Oh, that's actually not the top part. Yeah. There we go. So where this is touching here, then this will be the bottom, and you can actually go ahead and take your pencil, or in this case your the white, either pencil or tailor's chalk or other white marker, piece of soap, and give it a mark here. And then from that point, we want 1/2 inch. And we're going to cut this part off. Make sure I don't catch any other fabric. So a lot of times I'll put my fingers underneath, make sure. There we are. And then turn this guy in. There we go. It's looking good. Okay. Then we'll come back in a minute and close this and then sew this onto the strap. Now with this knot or the tie will hold the ring in place in the rakusu. And you can give it as much of a tug as you like if you like it, the look of it to be a little bit snugger. I actually did that. I like mine a little bit tighter because I wanted more of the ring to show. And so that's fine. You know, we have our own preferences. And then to adjust that the way that it looks nice. And again, we don't want to have too much. This is way too much. So you see how much we were really generous with the amount as they were, Marilyn and her cohorts were very generous with a lot of these straps so that we had plenty of room to be able to maneuver and manipulate this. So you can take a look at, and there's no prescribed length for this. So it can really be what you feel looks best and what you think would be the best thing for your rakusu. So I think we'll go, and again, love my graph paper. So line this up. And right about here. The other thing too is that if you, once you've done this and you tuck it under, if you think, oops, you know, take a look at it. And if you decide that you think that maybe it's a little bit too long or a little too short, then you can adjust it. So don't sew it and don't cut it until you're until you're certain. All right, so that's right there. Kind of blur our eyes and line this up so we can see a little bit better. There we go. So that's how this will look. So if you're happy with that, you can, you know, obviously have it a little bit short. I wouldn't have it any much shorter than that because you don't want it to risk zip it in there, you decide to unravel. Because again, we want no wardrobe malfunctions in the Zendo. And so we'll keep everything attached the way it should be. So since we're happy with that, there we are. We'll turn this in. And sometimes it can take a little fiddling because it's been sitting here flat for so long. It's not, it's wanting to stay put. I have to coax it into changing here. Go. Okay, so there you've got a nice straight line. This is in just a teeny bit more. There we go. So yeah, want it to be as straight as you can. And this was one that you could use clips, or if you prefer, you can use a pin. Oh. In a second. Here we go, sorry. So either way. And I'm a fan of the clips, so I think I will sew this with a clip. All right, so now as a reminder, obviously you have black fabric. You're going to have a black thread, and you don't need to double this one. You can just have a single strand, and you're going to have a nice quilting needle, and the quilting needles are kind of small, or much smaller than this embroidery needle, with a smaller eye, so that's easier to go through the fabric. The other thing would be your thread is going to be a normal width, and this is a embroidery pearl cotton thread. So you're going to be, I'm going to be making, I make a little bit bigger stitches so that you can see. And so when you're making yours with the regular weight thread with a smaller needle and with the black thread on black fabric, then it's really going to be invisible. You're not going to be able to see the stitches. Be sure you have a good task light so you can see where you're making your stitches. But just as a reminder that that's the difference in how you'll see how this is being made. Okay. And when we're in this kind of position, this will be a little bit clunky because you've got the ring and all the fabric and all this other stuff, but we'll make it happen. So it's great to go into where the folds are and see if I can come up. There we go. And then the knot will just be hidden in that little area down there. Okay. And we're just going to make a nice little hidden stitch by coming up. Coming straight down onto that next fold. I'm just getting a little bite of that fold. We'll go straight up into the opposite side. Let's see if I can pull this up a little bit more. And straight down. And the next little bite of fabric. So you see how we're kind of making a ladder because these stitches are straight up and down. And we'll grab another little bite just straight up from where we left off. Just like that. Now at this juncture, it's not a bad idea to give it a nice tug. A real nice pull. Now, also stretch it out so that it's not puckered. Okay. So there we have really nice hidden stitch. Like I said, my thread is much thicker than yours, so yours is really not going to show at all. And I'm making mine a little bigger so that you'll be able to see the results. And let's give it a nice tug and flatten it out. How about that? Not bad. Let's go in, touch a little fabric too. Here's another place where my stitches show a lot more than yours will. I make that knot. Actually, we could go down this way. This actually just gets rid of the tail. Got drifting. Pull that taut and give it a little snip. There we go. And there we are. So that looks really nice. Like I said, you can adjust that to your liking. And now let's move on to this guy. And we can take it completely off, but do remember that we want to put it back the same way and not accidentally twist it. So we're going to do that. Just to be on the safe side, I think I'll switch. This is much longer than I need, but I just don't want to run out at the end. There you go. Go. Oops. I'm actually going to just flip this real quick and go in like this. I was a little too far from the edge. So now let's go back here and just skip this little guy. Right. Now, let's be sure. I'll take these off so you can see a little better. So I'm gonna got this. See how we're straight along here, just like that. Now let's be sure we're straight right along here. All right, so we've got the inner seam here and here, and that'll be the inside, and this inner seam is on our inside, and then this inner seam is on the inside. So that's another real good way to tell. And you definitely still want to run it because it could twist twice and be the wrong way. So we want to be sure that we don't have any twisting and turning. And then this is going to line up just like the one over here, nice and straight. Here we go, very nice. And flip this over. And we got lots, lots more fabric and things in the way here, but we'll be fine. And it's time now to attach this strap to the Rakusu. And we'll do this just the way we did the other two. Point that knot down so we can hide it from view. And here we go. And if you remember, when we put our needle through, we're going to check every single time that we don't have it coming through the top or the front. So it's a little tedious, but it's worth it because we want to make sure that we don't have a stray stitch. And I'm taking bigger bites than I would when we did the hidden stitch here on the frame. We just took tiny little bites, and I'm taking much bigger bites into the strap, and I did here as well on the other side and on the On this one, we really have a good attachment. But it's important because with those tiny strips, the tiny threads that you try to capture, sometimes that can not be as strong, and you might find a little unraveling from time to time. And I think I may have mentioned that I had a wardrobe malfunction myself with one of the straps coming unfurled. And I had to pin it in place until I could get my sewing kit. So you're good. So again, and actually I forgot to mention this should be doubled. So your thread should be doubled when you attach your straps to the rakusu. So have two threads instead of just one. Or have it when you make a knot like this, then it'll be come each stitch will be doubled. Oops. Nice big bite and double check. Oh, look, it went through. Mm-mm-mm. No, no, no. I have to go back. Try again. Oh, it went through a little bit still. Doggone it. I'm not doing that on purpose. But it is a good demonstration of the importance of checking. Oh, all right, come on now. Pull that apart a little bit. The shopping bags or the produce bags in the market, and you can't get them apart. They get stuck together. So kind of like that. So nice big bite and success. There we go. Good. Excellent. Oops, sorry. All right. So, and I actually do make it a little bit. I'm going to make another stitch right here. And mostly to, like I said, to really be sure that we don't have any danger of it unraveling on you. There we go. We don't want it to show on the front, but There we go. Make another knot. There we go. Excellent. And go right through there and contain the tail. Take her pin out. There we go. And you have your straps attached to your rakusu and your ring. And the next step will be the plaquette that will be helping, that will keep the straps together, and the embroidered broken pine twig that will be putting onto the plaquette. So, and that's an important part because it's the way you'll be taking your rakusu on and off. So when you're donning and doffing your rakusu, you'll be using the plaquette to hold on to along with the bottom of the field. So there you have it. Wonderful milestone, and we're getting so very close. So our next episode will be forming and attaching the plaquette, and then one more step to put the embroidery on that piece of fabric, and you will have a completed rakusu. Almost there, yay. All right, so thank you for listening, and enjoy your sewing, and I'll see you in the next one.